Good morning, friends. I am very pleased to get to be with you again this morning. I'm sorry I missed last week. I was off leading a backpacking trip with Ananda Living Wisdom High School, which turned out to be a wonderful experience for many reasons. And I regretted not being able to do this with you last time. I actually wanted to just begin by expressing my gratitude. It's been such a joy to get to do these broadcasts together over the last 21 weeks. Time flies when you're having fun. But it's been just so rewarding to see the emails and the notes and everything that all of you are putting in. It's really made this experience feel like a group experience, that there's a lot of people tuning in from all around the world. To my friends in India, thank you for tuning in and enjoying this, and all around America. It's just delightful to get to share the joy of Swami's music together, isn't it? So anyway, my sincere gratitude for getting to share this journey together. Let's begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, dearest friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, our friend Swami Kriyananda, humbly we bow before you all. Be with us today. Help us to feel your consciousness within us. Help us to feel close to you, receptive to you. Influence us, uplift us, bless us with the secret of overcoming discouragement. Help us to bathe in thy light, in thy courage, in thy inspiration, in thy ever new hope, that today will be bright and we will be drawn closer to your presence through our efforts and through your grace. Om. Peace. Amen. Now, this week we have an interesting song, and I'm going to allow Swamiji to do most of the heavy lifting for us, because this is one of the pieces of music that he actually wrote about its underlying quality. And if you're not already familiar, he did a wonderful book of secrets, and he's done many of the different qualities, like secrets of leadership, secrets of emotional healing, secrets for men, secrets for women, lots of these little booklets, which I've begun going through one of them, actually. It's been delightful. But when he was writing Secrets of Emotional Healing, he began pairing some of those secrets with certain songs of his, which was really the seed inspiration for a lot of what I've been enjoying about his music for the last couple of years, and what I've been trying to share with you, is this idea that this music contains vibrational antidotes to certain challenging emotional qualities or karmas or things like this, or attitudes for life, and that through singing them we can tune into more deeply our soul nature and heal ourselves and remember who and what we really are. And so we're very lucky in that this is one of the songs that Swami actually wrote about. And so I'm going to allow Swami to do the heavy lifting here. This is for the song Dare to be Different. And for this, he says, the secret of overcoming discouragement is not to brood, instead act. Uplift your heart's feelings, stand upright, inhale, and with the inhalation, draw courage upward from your heart to your forehead. Then exhale and cast out of yourself all mental weakness and negativity. Let's actually just try that for a moment. So let's inhale deeply and feel that you are drawing all of the heart's courage from the heart center up to the spiritual eye. Let's do that together. And then as you exhale, cast out any discouragement, any mental weakness. You are none of your shortcomings. You are a child of God. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. Drawing the strength of the heart upwards into the brain. Exhale all negativity, all mental weakness. Wow, isn't that powerful? I'm going to have to remember that. Now, with that prelude in mind, let's listen to this week's song, Dare to be Different. Dare to be different, dare to be free, dare to roam far like wind on the sea, fly like a gull, soar high on the air, be strong in your courage when others despair. Never in anger, never in haste, go without pride, be never abased. Freedom is yours if freedom you'll give. To all give it freely, in freedom you'll live. Mountains that stand up tall to the sky tell us no dreaming is ever too high. Dare to climb boldly, brave that high peak. You'll never know failure if bravely you seek. Dare to be different, dare to be free, dare to roam far like wind on the sea, fly like a gull, soar high on the air, be strong in your courage when others despair. Be strong in your courage when others despair. And now once again, after listening to that music, let's practice that pranayama technique once again. Let's inhale, but this time feel that you're inhaling the vibration of this song from the heart up to the brain. And then let's exhale and cast aside all mental weakness, all discouragement. And now just rest for a moment and feel for the native courage of your own heart. Thank you, Swami. Magnificent. So simple, but so powerful, both the song and the technique. What's very interesting, just an aside, this song, Dare to be Different, there's lots of exclamation points in its lyrics. It's dare to be different, exclamation point. Dare to be free, exclamation point. Dare to roam far like wind on the sea. There's a period there. But you get the idea. There's lots of emphatic exclamation points throughout the song, which is not common in Swami's writing, either in his written lyrics or in his books, as far as I've seen. He's actually very, very cautious, might not be the right word. He's very attentive to the use of an exclamation point. And here they are in this song. And so I must confess, when I often used to sing this song, I would sort of sing it with maybe a little bit of an overly robust outward attitude. Dare to be different, dare to be free. You know, like I was a swashbuckler in some, musical about being, I don't know, Patrick Henry or something like this. Or anyway, you get the idea. But that's actually what's fascinating to me is I went back and I listened to a recording of Swamiji sing this song, and he sings this with so much relaxation. He sings, dare to be different, dare to be free. And I thought, wait, what? And the exclamation point yet exists, but it's in the power of the idea and the power of the invitation, not necessarily in the power of how robustly you need to force it out of yourself like a cannon being fired from the deck of a ship. And so, but that actually was very interesting to me and taught me a lot about how to sing Swami's music, about how to tune into it appropriately. And, sometimes it is appropriate to sing robustly and with great power, just like we would use in affirmation. Sometimes you have to really take command of your conscious mind and utilize your willpower and try to really, get all of the citizens of your subconscious mind behind your banner by, whether by hook or by crook. But then once we've elevated our energy, once we have focused it and elevated it, then we can be a little bit more refined. Because what we're trying to do with this music is not just bludgeon our subconscious mind into cooperation, but we're trying to invite, we're trying to win, we're trying to get our subconscious mind not to resist us, but to cooperate completely with us. And if you think about, this is something that's been on my mind recently, and I think is very appropriate for this song, that if we're talking about utilizing this song or any of Swamiji's music to be the antidote to negative attitudes, to be the beginning of right attitudes in life, what we're talking about in a way is reprogramming our subconscious mind, of cleansing, purifying, and putting new thoughts in there and uplifting it towards the superconscious mind, of course. But Swamiji has often described that our consciousness, our subconsciousness, is like the denizens of an entire country, vast meaning. And that I sometimes like to think of my conscious mind, getting a timeout once again. Are we having trouble?
I'm going to try it with lower quality because it's like freezing every 2 seconds.
Okay.
And it must be really frustrating for people.
Yeah, at this point, let's just keep going and we'll cut it.
Should I just do like it on
480? Let's do 480 with nothing else. And
okay.
We'll cut it together. Okay, are we back? Oh, yeah. Where should I go from?
Right where you were.
Okay. Hey friends, welcome back. Sorry about the technical difficulties. The moon is getting eclipsed today, and it's getting eclipsed in a way that's particularly affecting to me. So I think this is my karma that you're all having to endure with me, so thank you. Now, what I was talking about was working with the subconscious mind and not coercing it. But what Swami talks about is that your subconscious mind is like the denizens of a large kingdom. And I sometimes like to think of my conscious mind, which I have power over, or at least some power over, as being like the king, hopefully the king, or at least maybe a leader. And you have to win people to your cause. And yes, and I've been known to do this, unfortunately, from time to time, if you merely coerce them with a whip, though they might obey at first, eventually they'll rebel. And the subconscious mind will rebel against you and will fight you very intensely. And so what is needed is we need to win them. You have to win the cooperation of your subconscious mind. We have to win the cooperation of all of our energies. So that way they're not resisting you anymore, but they're simply in the flow of what's trying to happen. Much better to have an army of your subconscious mind completely behind you than sort of gnashing their teeth but obeying grudgingly. And so when we sing this music, we should sing it with relaxation. We should sing it with ease. You should sing it to yourself as if you were winning with sweet reason, with generosity, with kindness, with sensitivity, your subconscious mind. That you're trying to get all the denizens of your kingdom to agree in principle to this idea. And so if you cudgel them too hard, or as Swami once put in such a way that delighted me, he said, like an actor bludgeoning his audience with bombast because he lacks the skill to win them with subtlety, your subconscious mind will rebel against it eventually. And so even when we sing a song like this, which is so powerful and has so much energy, and its invitation is one of such strength, we should sing it like Swamiji sings it, with relaxation. Dare to be different, dare to be free, dare to roam far like wind on the sea. There's great power in these ideas, but let the idea have the power instead of needing to force the power upon it. And so just for fun, this week when you sing this song, try to acknowledge and embody and live in the power of these lyrics and of the melody. But see if you can allow it to influence you instead of needing to force yourself upon it, if you're anything like me. So now, that being said, let's take a look at the lyrics together. He says, dare to be different, dare to be free. And again, these two lines are well worth meditating on, because what is the normal state of consciousness in our world right now? That if you were to conform only to the environment in which we have been placed, well, the God that most people worship is money, success, power, sensuality. So dare to be different. Don't be like them. And then what does he say? Dare to be free. That's what it means to be different. Dare to be free. Free from what? Free from all attachments, from all limitations, from all sorrows, from all disappointments, from all failures. He says, dare to roam far like wind on the sea. What an incredible allegory, or a metaphor. Just think of that. What would it be like to be like wind on the sea? No boundaries, no shores, no confines. You're roaming. Fly like a gull, soar high on the air. Be strong in your courage when others despair. It is interesting. I listened to a documentary about Medal of Honor recipients, and I was struck by a number of them, that a lot of these men who were given the highest medal for courage that our country gives, and many of them were very unassuming men. They weren't the enormous Goliaths, but they were ordinary looking, seemingly. And yet they were men of tremendous courage. And what one of them said, this man who I read about, who behaved in an unbelievably heroic fashion on the beaches of Iwo Jima, which was one of the most terrible battlegrounds that was fought in World War II. And when asked, they said, how was it that you were able to be so heroic? And he said, I was just brave for one moment longer than the rest of them. And I thought that was very interesting to me. That all he was saying was, I was courageous for one moment longer. I was calm for one moment longer. And that enabled me to do these heroic acts that no one else could do. Be strong in your courage when others despair. Dare to be different. When others despair and grieve and give up, dare to be different. Be strong in your courage for just one moment more. Be a hero. Then he goes on in the second verse. Never in anger, never in haste. Go without pride, be never abased. And this is an interesting one. I have to just pause here, because the first verse is fairly self-explanatory. But there's a tendency when we sing music, especially music that we're very familiar with, that it's sort of like if you just repeat the word watermelon 10,000 times, you forget what those syllables even mean. But I've heard people sing this song, and literally I was with a group of people and we were singing it, and someone just turned and said, what does that even mean? And I thought, wow, that's actually a really good point. We should all really pause and make sure we understand what we're saying, which is often what I'm doing in this broadcast. Never in anger, never in haste, go without pride, be never abased. And I think the word that hangs some people up is that word abased. That means don't debase yourself by those negative qualities of pride, of being overly hasty, losing your calmness, by losing your kindness, by becoming angry. So the song is telling us how not to abase ourselves with these lesser qualities. Never in anger, never in haste. Go without pride, be never abased. And we can see this exemplified in the life of our own guru, Yogananda, that when he was running late for an appointment once, he began running and someone said, don't be worried, don't be anxious. And Yogananda said, I'm not worried, but to walk would be lazy. And so I need to run because I'm running late. And so he would run, but he ran with calmness. And so that's sort of what the song is telling you, that you can act with great energy, but you don't need to debase yourself with these negative qualities. Then he goes on, freedom is yours if freedom you give. To all give it freely, in freedom you'll live. Very interesting to think about, isn't it? How much freedom do you give to others? How much expectations do you hold of them? How many times do you imprison people in the expectations that you hold for them? It's very interesting. And our thoughts have power to affect other people. That when you expect only low things from someone, well, they're likely to give you only low things. But when you hold freedom for them, when you hold nobility, when you expect that of them, not in a way of demanding, but in recognition of their soul virtue, they're much more likely to give it to you. Isn't that so? The third verse. Mountains that stand up tall to the sky. I love that. That they stand up tall to the sky, as if not shirking from the heights that the sky invites them to. Tell us no dreaming is ever too high. And again, dare to be different. How many people have dreams which they think they'll never be able to accomplish? And so they give up. So they lower the mountain of their aspiration. And they say, after all, I'm only human. Or after all, what can one really expect? I'm content if I merely have a big enough savings account and a house. No dreaming is ever too high. Dare to climb boldly, brave that high peak. And of course, I think at this point, the metaphor he's pointing towards is the mountain peak of God realization. Dare to climb boldly, brave that high peak. Even if others are content with mediocrity spiritually and in their own selves, brave that high peak. And then the last two lines, which I think are well worth meditating on. You'll never know failure if bravely you seek. And this is a message that is repetitive in Swamiji's music. If you listen carefully, we heard a similar message shine through in the song The Hill That Was Tara, when he says, I learned in that moment the deeds that men do never die. Each victory is true. Every effort we spend gives more strength in the end, till our gladness in life's ever new. And he's telling us again here, you'll never know failure if bravely you seek. That what does it mean to fail? What does it mean to be successful? And we have to redefine what these things mean. And this is very important psychologically for the yogi, because is failure outwardly defined, or is failure that your heart's energy fell, and that you gave up, and that you succumbed to discouragement? I believe Master said once that discouragement is the greatest trick Satan can play upon us. Because when the heart loses its courage, you stop trying, and you stop the pursuit on the spiritual path. Master said, I know this, that many people fail to progress on the spiritual path because they lack a certain spiritual adventurousness. And so, you'll never know failure if bravely you seek. Bravely, what does that mean, bravely? With that open heart, with a courageous heart, an uplifted heart, like we just experienced through that pranayama, when we draw the heart's power up into the brain. What would it be like to live like that all the time? Interesting, isn't it? So, now, let's listen to the melody together and see if it contains any hidden jewels for us to assimilate. Now, what strikes me about this melody that I think is worth highlighting is, can you hear its methodical, building quality as it's moving sort of with determined energy towards the pinnacle of the piece, towards the high note, every verse? The melody is sort of slowly building its way upward. And then on the second phrase of the verse, it starts a little higher than it did before. Now we're going to return back to the first note of the verse. But now it's like we have power. We've like bounced off the trampoline of our own realization and we're moving for the top. There it is. And then when we return back to the bottom, it's with greater power and greater awareness than we had before. So now let's try singing that, and let's try to feel that building power of the melody, coaxing us upwards. Dare to be different, dare to be free, dare to roam far like wind on the sea. That's sort of one phrase. We can feel it rising up, calming down gently, and then rising a little bit higher. And then we have sort of a regathering of forces. Fly like a gull, soar high on the air. Be strong in your courage when others despair. And then when we come back from that high note, it has all of the power of resolution. And I mean that both musically and psychologically. And so let's sing that one more time, and we'll just sing the whole phrase and feel the building power. And like I said before, feel that you're winning the cooperation of your subconscious mind until at the end, this is your realization. Dare to be different, dare to be free, dare to roam far like wind on the sea. Fly like a gull, soar high on the air. Be strong in your courage when others despair. Now what would be interesting, this is just a thought that's popping into mind, if you were to sing this song, you could almost turn it into a two-part energy awareness, that every time you took an inhalation, you could try to imagine, like Swami tells us in that technique, to feel that you're drawing up the courage of the heart with every breath. It would be interesting. Let's sing the second verse, and again, let's feel the ebbing and flowing, the building power of this melody. Never in anger, never in haste, go without pride, be never abased. Freedom is yours if freedom you'll give. To all give it freely, in freedom you'll live. And then the third verse takes a little foray away from the melody, and we get a slightly different variation. Mountains that stand up tall to the sky, tell us no dreaming is ever too high. And it's interesting. That is, then we return actually. Dare to climb boldly, brave that high peak. That's the same as before, right? You'll never know failure if bravely you seek. And on that one, he changes just a few notes at the final part of that verse. You'll never know failure if bravely you seek. And when you change just a slight part of a melodic structure, it's emphatic. You go, wait, what? Why was that different from before? And I think he's trying to emphasize to us that those last two lines, you'll never know failure if bravely you seek. But isn't it interesting too that the first sentence of that is a different melodic theme? Mountains that stand up tall to the sky, tell us no dreaming is ever too high. And for whatever reason, whenever I sing this, I feel like this part is like we've won the courage to be a little bit more relaxed. Like we've put out the energy to enjoy the view, so to speak, from our higher state of consciousness. I don't know quite how better to say it. But when I sing this song, I try to really enjoy that verse most of all. So let's sing that third one more time. Mountains that stand up tall to the sky. It feels like we're just floating on the air. Tell us no dreaming is ever too high. Dare to climb boldly, brave that high peak. You'll never know failure if bravely you seek. And then we return once again to the first verse. Dare to be different, dare to be free, dare to roam far like wind on the sea. Fly like a gull, soar high on the air. Be strong in your courage when others despair. Be strong in your courage when others despair. Let's sit upright and feel the vibration of this song. And let's inhale slowly and deeply, drawing this vibration from the heart up to the brain, to the point between the eyebrows. And retain the breath for a moment if comfortable. And then as you exhale, be free of all limitations, of all discouragement. And just notice for a moment how changed you may feel from singing this song, from practicing that technique, from becoming receptive to God's ever new courage. Let's try and live in that courage this week. Thank you, friends.